The world was around us, you kissed me good night and bewitched me. I need to film this and film this fast because I'm going to Chili's with my friends because there's a new thing on the Chili's menu and I also want a margarita. So we're going out to dinner at Chili's and they're coming in like a little bit over an hour. So hello everybody, my name is Honey and welcome back to my channel. So today is definitely inspired by Brittany Broski. I watched her video a while ago and I've had this kind of on the back burner for a video that I've wanted to do. I did a test for this earlier to make sure it works and it seems actually kind of good for an AI. If you don't know what we're doing today, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT to write fanfiction for me. And we're just gonna see how it goes. We're gonna read through it. We're gonna have a good time. I'm using actually the Write For Me GPT. I think it's like another type of ChatGPT. Let's see what she does to me. Look at this. You're caught on camera, by the way. Mugshot. Why do you look like that? Why do you always look like I'm torturing you? I thought I would do 3 different people. That way we get a good glimpse on whether or not this can actually write fanfiction for you. I literally skimmed over the example fanfiction. By the way, I wrote it about me and Joe Gatto. And I skimmed over it and I was like, why is this actually like fanfiction? Which is a little scary to me. I have a question. Just one question for you. Why when I'm filming, do you get so cuddly? I was on a game show the other day, on live stream, and she comes up and just has me hold her like this for like 30 minutes of it. I actually really want to see fanfiction of me and Brian Quinn, and this TikTok of me recently has gone viral. Write a fanfiction about me and Brian Quinn. I just want you to know, at my big age, I still mix up Brian and Brain sometimes. From Impractical Jokers. Make it old money Lana Del Rey core. Because of our 27 year gap. Below is an excerpt of a romantic fanfiction featuring you and Brian Quinn, crafted with a nostalgic old money aesthetic inspired by the Lana Del Rey core. It emphasizes, I'm like joking, it emphasizes a dreamy, timeless romance with subtle tension stemming from the age gap. Y'all! A Vintage Affair by ChatGPT featuring me and Q from Impractical Jokers. Why is this good? Shut up! The summer air was thick with the scent of blooming jasmine as the gold light of dusk spilled over the estate. There's no way! Like, this is how I write. I'm actually a little bit scared because this is like too human for me. Let's forget about the implications of this being AI and let's just focus on the fanfiction, okay? You leaned against the grand oak banister of the veranda, a glass of sparkling champagne perched delicately in your hand. Your sundress, a soft ivory with intricate lace detailing, caught the waning sunlight, casting ethereal patterns on your skin. Somewhere in the distance, the faint melody of a string quartet intertwined with the hum of cicadas. Brian Quinn was late. He had always been a little unpredictable, a trait that somehow drew you to him like a moth to a flame. He didn't belong here, in this world of old money and whispered scandals, and perhaps that's what made his presence so intoxicating. With his slightly disheveled charm and a laugh that could fill any room, and yet you couldn't resist. You turned as you heard the crunch of gravel underfoot. Okay, that's a little AI. There he was, stepping out of his vintage convertible, his silhouette illuminated by the amber glow of the driveway lamps. Brian's dark eyes met yours, and for a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. He wore a tailored navy blazer, open at the collar, a nod to propriety without fully succumbing to it. Oh my god, I can like envision this. I can envision this scene in my head. Fashionably late, he called out, his voice laced with amusement as he ascended the steps. Terribly late, you corrected, though the smile on your lips betrayed any annoyance. You reached for your hand, pressing a kiss to your knuckles, his stubble grazing your skin in a way that sent a shiver down your spine. You look like you stepped out of a Fitzgerald novel, he murmured, his tone low and reverent. Reverent? Oh my god. I have no words. I'm like speechless right now. Maybe it was just my prompt that made this amazing. And you look like trouble, you teased, your heart racing as his thumb lingered on your hand. The two of you moved inside where the mansion's grandeur surrounded you. Crystal chandeliers sparkled overhead, and the soft murmur of well-bred conversation filled the room. Yet, as Brian's hand rested lightly on the small of your back, guiding you through the crowd, it felt as though you two were the only people in the world. Tell me, he said, his voice warm against your ear, what's a girl like you doing in a place like this? Okay, this makes no sense though, because like, don't we already know each other? You laugh softly, the kind of laugh reserved for secrets shared at midnight. You make it sound like I don't belong. Not that, he said, turning you toward him. His gaze was steady now, searching. I just wonder if all of this, the champagne, the pearls, the parties, makes you happy. His words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. You know he wasn't talking about the party, or the life you'd grown up in. He was asking if you could truly ever be content, here in this gilded cage, without him. Without him? We're endgame. We are endgame. I'm not gonna be without him. Sometimes, you admitted, I feel like I'm living someone else's dream. And what's your dream? You hesitated, your breath catching as his hand brushed your cheek, tucking a loose strand of hair behind your ear. The room around you seemed to blur, the colors bleeding into one another like an oil painting. Hold on, let's pretend this is not my hand, this is Q's hand, ready? He didn't actually duck. Okay. My dream, you whispered, is to stop running from what I want. Brian's lips curved into a crooked smile. Then don't. The space between you disappeared as he leaned in, his lips capturing yours in a kiss that was at once gentle and urgent. It tasted of longing, of all the moments you'd spent denying the pull between you two, of the unspoken promise of what could be. The kiss ended too soon, leaving you breathless as you gazed up at him. Whoa! Do you think they'll notice if we slip away? Yes, his voice a blend of mischief and sincerity. You smiled, taking his hand. Let them talk. Together, you stepped out into the cool night air, leaving behind the world of chandeliers and champagne flutes for something far more intoxicating. Freedom. I'm sorry, this was genuinely good. Like, why was this more than I expected? A vintage affair? My critiques is I wish we expanded on the age gap more, because that should have been like the main plot point in this, but that's okay. I give this a 4.5. This time, let's be vague with what we want. Write a fan fiction about me and Rhysand from the book series ACOTAR. Oh! Starlight and Shadows. A fan fiction about me and Rhys. God help me through this. The city of Valaris glimmered beneath the night sky, its lights reflecting like scattered diamonds upon the Sidra River. You stood on the balcony of the House of Wind, the night breeze playing with the tendrils of your hair. The air smelled of lavender and the faint tang of the sea, but you couldn't focus on the beauty of the view. Not when you felt his presence behind you, as unmistakable as the pulse of your own heart. Do you plan to brood all night? I imagined him as British. Should I do a British accent? Lock in, lock in, lock in. Rhysand's voice was like velvet, smooth and teasing, carrying a warmth that seemed to wrap around you even in the cool air. You didn't turn around. Not yet. I wasn't aware you had a monopoly on brooding, you replied, your tone lighter than you felt. His laughter rumbled low, the sound tugging at the corners of your lips despite yourself. A moment later, you felt him close but not touching. His wings, vast and powerful, stretched into your periphery, their shadows cast long in the moonlight. I give up on the British accent, by the way. Careful, darling. Someone might think you're challenging me. Who's someone? Great question, me. AI, I need you to address that. I guess this is an excerpt, so how rough can I be? Finally, you turned to face him, your breath catching as it always did when you saw him. Rhysand was a study in contrast. Devastatingly handsome, his sharp features softened only by the kindness in his violet eyes. Yet, even kindness had an edge with him, a promise of fire and ice that he wielded with precision. Someone might think you like being challenged, you said, tilting your chin slightly, daring him to counter. His grin widened, wicked and knowing. You'd be right. The silence between you stretched, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was heavy with words unsaid, with emotions you weren't ready to name. You would try to stay away, keep him at arm's length, but Rhysand had a way of slipping past your defenses, of finding the cracks in your armor and making them feel like freedom instead of weakness. This is me! How do they know that? How do they know I have issues? Is ChatGPT listening to me? He stepped closer, his wings folding neatly behind him. You've been distant, he he said, the teasing gone from his voice, even more so than usual. Tell me what's wrong. You looked away, your fingers gripping the rail tightly. What's wrong is that I don't belong here, you admitted, the words tumbling out before you could stop them. This city, this court, I'm an outsider. Risan's hand came to rest over yours, gentle but firm. His touch was like starlight. Cool at first, but blossoming with warmth the longer it lingered. You belong wherever you choose to, he said, his voice steady, unyielding. Velaris welcomes those who seek peace, but more importantly, I welcome you. I don't want to be welcomed. I want to be loved. I don't know. Why are you not declaring your love for me yet? The sincerity in his tone made your chest ache. You turned to look at him, your eyes searching his for any hint of insincerity, but all you found was quiet conviction. That was a bar! Why me? You asked, your voice fairly above a whisper. His lips curled into a soft smile, one that made your heart stutter, because you remind me of the stars. Here's the thing, Reese. This is where I have a problem with you, because all my life, and by myself, I've been referred to as the moon. So I'm gonna actually need you to fact check that. I don't know if you really know me that much, because I'm actually a moon. I'm not a stars or a sun, he said, lifting a hand to brush his knuckles along your cheek. Brilliant, untouchable, and yet I can't help but want to reach for you. See, this is where I have an issue, because I feel like Reese doesn't know me. And maybe ChatGPT doesn't know me either, because this is not something that someone would say to me. The words stole your breath, and before you could stop yourself, you leaned into his touch. His hand slid to the nape of your neck, his thumb tracing small, soothing circles. I can't offer you a perfect life, Risan murmured, his forehead now resting against yours. There will be danger, darkness, but I can promise you this. I will never let you face it alone. The gravity of his words settled into your chest, and suddenly, the fear of not belonging seemed inconsequential compared to the weight of his devotion. I don't need perfection, you said, your voice trembling but certain. I just need you. Risan's lips brushed against yours, soft at first, a question rather than a demand. But as you pressed closer, the kiss deepened, consuming and endless, like falling into the night sky itself. When you finally pulled away, his smile returned, brighter than the stars. Shall we see where the night takes us then? You nodded, taking his outstretched hand. Together you descended from the House of Wind, leaving behind the whispers of self-doubt for the promise of starlight, shadows, and a love as vast as the heavens. That was good. It was not as good as the other one. I don't know why. I feel like maybe because I read about Reese that I just know how he talks and like this is weird. I don't feel it personalized to me. Like the other one I could slightly relate to more because it wasn't as like personalized, you know? This I would give like a 3. You had me at the first half, and finally, right? A fan fiction about me and write a fan fiction about me and Anthony Bridgerton. Should I add like details about me? Details about me. I'm a Taurus. I have black curly hair. I'm mixed white and Latina. I'm a bit curvy. Like maybe this will make it like more personalized, you know? I'm stubborn and I'm also slightly a make it enemies to lovers. This is gonna be so good. This is gonna be so good. Here's a romantic enemies to lovers fanfiction featuring you and Anthony Bridgerton, filled with the passionate tension and slow burn chemistry that makes this trope so delicious. The setting will maintain the Regency era elegance of Bridgerton with nods to your personality and the inevitable spark. Okay, how long is this? Oh my god. The season's most infuriating match. The garden party at Aubrey Hall was an affair of elegance and civility, or so it was meant to be. Guests milled about under the warm spring sun, the sound of laughter and the clinking of teacups blending with the rustle of the breeze through the wisteria. I'm seeing that this AI is very good at, like, imagery. It was a day for pleasantries and polite conversation, but Anthony Bridgerton seemed determined to make it anything but. You're glaring again, Penelope Featherington whispered, her voice a mix of concern and amusement. I am not glaring, you replied sharply, though your black curls practically bristled with irritation. Penelope raised a skeptical eyebrow. You look as though you've been plotting Lord Bridgerton's untimely demise. That was good! That was actually good. That was actually... Your eyes flicked to the Viscount, standing across the lawn, his shoulders broad in a perfectly tailored navy coat. His dark hair caught the sunlight. His posture exuded the kind of confidence that came with knowing he was the most eligible bachelor of the season. He turned slightly, his sharp gaze meeting yours with an infuriating smirk, as though he could read your thoughts. Well, you muttered under your breath, it would serve him right. It had been like this since your debut in society. Anthony Bridgerton had an uncanny knack for finding your weaknesses and exploiting them for his own amusement. You, a Taurus through and through, had too much pride to let him win, and so every encounter between you devolved into a battle of wills. Today was no different. As if summoned by your disdain, Anthony approached, his confident stride sending a ripple of anticipation to the gathered guests. When he reached you, he bowed, his smirk firmly in place. "Miss Honey," he drawled, his voice rich and mocking. "What a delight to see it is you this afternoon, though I must admit your expression suggests otherwise." You curtsied, your black curls falling artfully over your shoulder as you met his gaze with a saccharine smile. "Lord Bridgerton, it's always a pleasure to enjoy your company." "Endure," he echoed, feigning offense. "Surely you mean enjoy." Penelope coughed behind her gloved hand, clearly suppressing laughter. "I would, my lord," you said sweetly, "if your wit was as sharp as your jawline, alas." Anthony's grin widened, his eyes glinting with amusement and something deeper, something he would never admit. "And yet, you're still here." "That was bad." "And yet you're still here. If I didn't know any better, I would say you enjoy our conversations." You stepped closer, your voice low enough so that only he could hear. "You didn't know better, Lord Bridgerton. You'd think a great many things that aren't true." For a moment, the air between you grew charged, the playful banter giving way to something more intense. You could see it in the way his gaze flicked to your lips, in the way his jaw tightened as though restraining himself. But then he stepped back, his composure as perfect as ever. "Shall I fetch you some lemonade, Miss Honey?" he said, his tone light once more. "You seem in need of refreshment." "Don't trouble yourself," you replied, turning on your heel before he could respond. "I'll manage without your assistance." Later that evening, the ball at Aubrey Hall was a glittering spectacle, the grand chandelier casting a golden glow over swirling gowns and polished shoes of the dancers. You stood near the edge of the room, your black curls pinned into an elegant chignon, watching the waltz with only mild interest. I haven't been able to stop and comment because I've been so focused on doing a good British accent, but I like this so far. The references to my personality are a bit overt, but it's fine. "Not dancing, Miss Honey." Anthony's voice came from behind you, sending a shiver down your spine. You turned to find him closer than you expected, his dark eyes fixed on you with an intensity that stole your breath. "No one has asked," you replied coolly, though you knew it was a lie. Several gentlemen had approached, but you turned them away. See, this is definitely fiction. Finding their conversation dull in comparison to, well, Anthony extended a hand, his gaze never waving. "Then allow me." You hesitated, your stubborn nature wearing the undeniable pull you felt towards him. Finally, you placed your hand in his, ignoring the way your pulse quickened at the warmth of his touch. The music swelled as he led you onto the floor, his hand firm at your waist, his other holding yours with practiced ease. For the first time, there were no sharp words between you, only the rhythm of the dance and the electric tension crackling in the air. "You're quiet," he observed, his tone softer than usual. "Enjoy it while it lasts," you shot back, though the bite in your words was half-hearted. Why is this actually me? "Enjoy it while it lasts." His lips curved into a rare, genuine smile. "I intend to." As the dance continued, you found yourself relaxing against him, his movements confident and steady. The rest of the room seemed to fade away, leaving only the two of you. When the music ended, he didn't let go immediately. Instead, he leaned in, his voice a low murmur against your ear. "For someone who claims to dislike me, you dance with me remarkably well." You pulled back, meeting his gaze with a raised brow. "For someone who claims to be indifferent, you're holding on remarkably tightly." Anthony's grin turned into a quiet laugh, his hand brushing yours as he finally released you. "Perhaps we're both liars, then." You didn't respond, but the flutter in your chest betrayed you. As he escorted you back to the edge of the room, you realized with daunting clarity that the most infuriating man you've ever met was also the only one who truly saw you, and that terrified you more than anything. This is a great start to a story. My Q fanfiction was my favorite, definitely, but this is like a solid 4.3. What was the point of this video? All I know is that ChatGPT can write fanfiction. Is it wonderful? No. But is it kind of great? Sometimes? Yeah, like this was pretty good. Thanks guys for watching another video. If you liked it, watch another video after this, and like and subscribe. All my social medias, my Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, everything with my Brian Q TikTok, also on my TikTok, is down in the description. And my freaky fanfiction readers, I will see you in the next video.